All right, guys, so let's get started. Welcome to the Get Debt-Free Masterclass. Welcome, everybody. And before we get started, I just want to preface this by saying that I am not a financial planner and that you should not be taking this as advice. I am only relating to you what has worked for me in the past several times, has worked really well for me. And basically has helped me to become debt-free. And but any information that I give that you do, I would recommend that you seek a financial planner's advice before you implement any of these actions. All right, now that we got that out of the way, let's get started. Okay, so let me just grab my notes over here. All right, so what is my background? So my background is that I do not have credit card debt. I do not carry, let's put it this way, I do not carry bad credit card debt. Okay, so what's the difference between bad credit card debt and good credit card debt? Is that the good credit card debt I use for businesses. I use as a loans. A lot of times I've used our credit cards and debt to buy assets and to help our businesses along. But I do not have the bad kind of debt. I pay that off every single month. So if these days everybody uses their credit cards for everything, right? From buying groceries. I mean, geez, now we use it for like $5 or $10 charges, which I thought was unheard of before. I remember they used to really hit you hard with a fine when you used your credit card for purchases like under a certain amount of money. Now you can go and literally, charge $5, which I actually do, because now I said that I would never go around without cash, but we just really don't live in a big cash society any longer. And so I don't like using my debit card at all. I try never to use that. First of all, it's really hard to balance my checkbook like that. So I just never use a debit card. It's just too easy to, things can get really confused. It's much easier to spend money that way. So I don't use a debit card. Anytime I open up a new account, I don't ever get the debit card. Or I'll get it, but I'll tuck it away and never use it, and usually forget the passcode, So, of course, I never go to Mac machines or anything like that. I just try to make sure that I have some cash laying around at home so that if I do need it, I won't have to run to the bank. So that's not going to be an issue, right? But my background is that I was able to pay off my house in less than 2 years. And I've since, just to let you know, I have sold that house and I'm currently renting because we were traveling for a while. But when we did have our house, we paid it off in 2 years, and I was able to do that by, just basically some of the steps that I'm going to share with you today. And we just, paid off our cars, and we've had them a long time. I mean, the novelty of having a brand new car to us is not anything special. What's special to us and what's meaningful to us is having freedom. And freedom is the name of the game. And, not material items. So, when we were making a lot of money at one point, we, did buy a lot of material items thinking that that was going to make us happy. And it didn't. It didn't. So the saying is true. Well, not the saying that money won't buy you happiness, but the saying that material items won't buy you happiness. So if you think they're going to fill a void within you, then you're wrong, and I just wouldn't go down that road of trying to, you know what, sometimes you need to go down that road so that you can find out it's not true, but you need to understand at some point that this isn't working. Buying a new car or boat or whatever gadget, it only lasts for a short term. So you've got to find that happiness within. So I think freedom will give you that, financial freedom. There's nothing like financial freedom. Buy whatever the heck you want after you become financially free, right? So we were able, and we stick by that. Just to give you a 10,000 foot overview, there was one time when I was drowning in debt, and I had lost my job, and I had to go back and live with my mom. And it was a really sad time for me. And I was just had all this credit card debt and all these bills, and I ended up taking 3 jobs and negotiated with all the credit card agencies so that I could bring down all my bills, and used all that money. I just didn't even go out. I was working so much and paid off all my credit card debt. And I swore that I would never, ever let that happen again. And I did kind of let it happen one more time. I guess you don't always learn your lesson, you know. And I didn't get into quite as much debt, but I did still got into debt. And since that time, I've, you know, I've been debt free. I don't carry any bad debt. I just don't believe in it. I believe that, you know, look, if you can't pay for it with cash, then you can't afford it. That's it. You know, don't trade your freedom away for a material item, you know, that you're never going to get to spend any time on because, you know, like you buy a boat, right? And you're working all the time. When are you ever going to take your boat out, right? You buy a brand new car that takes you back and forth to work, you know, that's no fun. Anyways, so that's my background. I was able to pay off all my debt. I just didn't carry credit cards unless I was buying assets with it. That's the only time we carry debt with it, is if, you know, a lot of times we use it for, we're in the real estate business too, renovating properties and things like that. That's the only time that we've ever really carried credit card debt. And it's done really well. Honestly, we live at the beach, and we like to spend a lot of time, you know, outdoors, and we just don't want to have to slave away, you know. And to be honest with you, we get more enjoyment out of non-material items, like the most simplest of things can bring you the most happiness, like, you know, a paddleboard or a surfboard, you know, as opposed to a really expensive boat. Like anything with a motor is not as fun as anything that is driven by yourself, your own energy. So much more fun. Okay, so who is this information for? I could ramble on and on and on about that. So who is this information for? All right, so this is for people who, honestly, just average people who are drowning in debt, and know that there's a better way, and you wake up and every day you're stressed, really stressed, and it's hard to really enjoy your life or do anything because you know you owe so much money and you feel like you're going to be homeless at any time, and it's just, you know, it literally is a rat race. And so this is for people who have dreams of freedom and want to live a better life, because this is the better life. I don't care what they're selling you on TV and all the commercials. It's all a lie. It's all a lie. The better life is having time. Time is the biggest asset. And so that's what we're doing here. We're buying time for ourselves. So what we're not going to talk about ever is about bankruptcy or anything like that. Bankruptcy is not, you know, for people who owe a lot of debt, it's not going to solve your problems. Hey, come on now. I'm busy here with a webinar. Sorry, it's my dog. So it's not. This is about getting your debt paid off. This is not about filing bankruptcy, because that's another form of enslavement. And you don't need that. You can, in most cases, people can pay off their debt. They just don't know how. So, and this is also going to be for people who, you know, down the road, it's just going to set you up for success, because you're going to have the kinds of good financial habits that you need. Okay, so let's get started here. So let's talk about some things that, some lies about debt, and what good debt is versus bad debt, and what you've been told over the course of years that might have been there is so ingrained in us that we actually think it is the truth. And one of them is that you need to you need to take 30 years paying off your mortgage. So this is one big lie. And you don't, just because you have a 30-year mortgage doesn't mean that you take 30 years to pay off that mortgage. Because if you ever done the amortization on that, you're going to see how long it actually takes you to pay off that mortgage. And how much money that it's going to take you to pay that mortgage off. It's insane how much money that you'll pay in interest, and depending on your interest rate. Even though we have some really good interest rates right now. The problem with the lower interest rates right now is that you're paying higher for your house. I actually prefer the higher interest rates to the lower, for me, only because I always plan on paying off my house. And if you pay a lot more for your house, then it's a lot harder for you to pay your house off, if you're going to pay cash. And so I prefer that, because you can always, and the other good thing about, a higher interest rate is that a lot of times interest rates will go down, or you can renegotiate a lower interest rate later on. And that'll bring your payment down as well. But if you're locked into this really high mortgage price for your house, then, you're locked in. There's nothing you can do about it. Interest rates aren't going to help you. So there's also another thing that you can do with mortgages that people don't really tell you about, is that a lot of times what I've done to pay off my mortgage was I got a 30-year mortgage because the way I felt that I wanted to do it was I wanted to pay it off in 15 years, but I didn't want to lock myself into a 15-year loan, just in case, you never know what happens, right? Just in case something happens. So I didn't want to lock myself into a 15-year, but I started making payments, because we were making the money at that point for as if I had a 15-year. So I was always making a 15-year payments on my house. So that was one thing that I did. Another thing that I did was anytime I got a chunk of cash from wherever taxes at the end of the year, instead of going off and spending it like most people do, I actually took that chunk of cash and I put it down on the house. And it was on top of the 15-year. And so at one point we had gotten a really big tax rebate back from our taxes. We had overpaid, and it was like a windfall to us. And we took that money and we put it right down on our house. Didn't even think about it for a second, and put it right down. We didn't buy new cars. We didn't buy anything new. We still kept our finances really low, our debt really low. And just because we were making more money, and we didn't spend it, we actually put it towards our house. So we were able to pay off our house. I think at the time it was about $118,000, and we had done it in less than 2 years. So just because you have a 30-year mortgage for your house does not mean it needs to take you 30 years to pay it off. They also have something else that I will be looking into a little bit more closely, probably in another webinar, so that we can go over it. It's a where you can take your mortgage and put it into what's like a equity line. So instead of having a regular mortgage where you pay X amount every month, you actually put your mortgage as an equity line, and then you use it as a checking account. And you can accumulate, because you're putting all your money from your check every month into instead of putting it into your banking account, your checking account or savings account, you're putting it into your line of equity, and it's saving you a lot of money in interest. And it's going to help you to get your loan paid off that much faster. Of course, the more you leave in your account, the faster it's going to get paid off. So that is something that is really, really interesting that a lot of people don't know about. And And honestly, they don't want you to know about it because they want you to pay your loan off in 30 years because of how much money they make. Okay, so let's go to the next lie. So the next lie is that the reason why you need to keep your mortgage, I hear this one all the time, this one's bizarre. The reason why you want to keep your mortgage is because you're going to get a big income tax reduction, right? And that's just silly because that you're only getting that tax deduction because you're paying money out. Trust me, you're not getting, it's not totally offsetting what you're paying out. So that's not a reason why to keep a big mortgage. So you get the income tax deduction. It's much better. I mean, I like write-offs just as much as anybody. You know, we all like write-offs. But it's better, trust me, for your peace of mind to have a paid-off house than it is for you to get an income tax deduction. So you don't want to keep your mortgage because of that. Another lie is you should keep your interest rate because your mortgage is cheaper than other types of loans, like, you know, other types of loans that you can invest the money in the stock market or mutual fund, things like that. All I have to say is you can't live in your mutual fund and you cannot live in your stock market. But you can live in your house, right? The one thing, this is the craziest thing, but one of the biggest fears in life as, you know, humans that we have is, one of our greatest fears is not having a place to live, not having a roof over our heads, I'm sorry. So how do you think that you would feel? You know, you're risking that every time because would rather put the money into mutual funds and stock markets. What happens when the stock market tanks, right? You could have had a paid off house, and then when the market tanks and the economy tanks, you still have a roof over your head and you don't have to worry. So that's just silly thinking. You know, if you're going to invest in stock markets, you need to do that with your extra money. You don't do that with the roof over your head. You know, that's the other thing. A lot of people think that your house is an investment because it appreciates. And while it does appreciate, it is not actually an asset. It's not an asset unless it's creating you money. An asset creates money. Your house does not create money for you. You're living in it. It only creates money until you sell it. That's when you're going to gain money on it. So it's not technically, because you're putting money into it, it's not giving you money back. It's not an asset. You need to think about it for what it is. It's the roof over your head. And the next lie is and this one always gets me too. When people take out these home equity lines and their justification for, like, oh, I'll take it out for a college education or for a vacation or to remodel my house and all that. Their justification is, well, the value of my house went up. And so what they get stuck in, and not only that, but they pay off their credit card debt and the justification to that is that it's higher interest. Okay, so here's the big thing, and I want you to remember this. Always remember this. Credit card debt, unsecured. Mortgage, that is secured. These are the two things you need to remember. Because right now, your credit card, if something were to happen and you weren't going to pay it, your house is not at risk when you cannot pay your credit card debt. It is not, it is unsecured debt. However, your mortgage is secured. And that's a big, big distinction there. And I want you to remember. So it's the difference between having a roof over your head and not having a roof over your head. Why would you risk the roof over your head to pay off unsecured debt? It just does not make sense. But that's the way they sell it to us all the time. Interest rates are smaller, and then these financial supposedly experts are telling us to pay off our credit card debt with our house debt. And now I've seen people, and it's really a shame. They've had paid off houses. And I mean, just think about the scenario. Their house was totally paid off. Totally paid off. And then somebody sold them on this crap of paying off their credit card debt because they just kept, buying everything on credit card debt. And they did this over and over and over again. And then they would refinance their house, pay off their credit card debt. So now they took a perfectly paid off house and now they have a mortgage on it, right? And then they're like, well, but we paid off these high interest cards. And then you know what they did next, right? Come on, you know what they did. Yeah, they ran them cards right back up again, right? So now not only do they have the high interest rate credit cards, but now they have the debt, a mortgage on their house. Now it's secured against their house. And now if they stop making payments, they can lose their house. But wait, I'm not done yet. What did they do again? Oh, yes. The value of their house went back up again. So what did they do? They paid off that. I think they did it 2 or 3 times. Paid off their credit card debt with a mortgage. They refinanced, put it on there until they couldn't do it anymore. Now they had a full, at least 80% mortgage on the value of their house. And now they took a completely paid off house, a roof over their head, and now they put it at risk when before it was unsecured and risk. When they should have just really learned their lesson, because they never learned their lesson, which was just to stop charging on your credit card, right? Seems reasonable, right? So that is a lie. Don't ever pay off your credit card debt with your mortgage. Find other ways before you can do that. Most times it does not make sense to do that. I'm sure there are some situations where it's necessary, but don't use it as an ATM machine. And that's what people have done. Okay, so the next one is car loans. Is that, a lot of people say that you need a car loan and it's unavoidable. You have to have a car loan. And that's just not true. I remember a long time ago, and I couldn't believe that people thought like this because it was just so out of the ordinary for me because I just don't think that way. But they never, I forget what business I was in. It was like I was signing up people for insurance. And the funny thing is that I asked them, like, how much was the vehicle that you bought? How much was it? And they said, I don't know. And I'm like, well, how the heck do you not know what you spent for your car? And they said, well, I don't know. I just, I asked them how much was the payment. And I didn't realize how prevalent that was throughout our society, was that people don't even know how much they spend for things. All they want to know is how much is their payment. And that's the same thing for houses, So I would hope that they know what they spent for their house. But a lot of people don't know what they spent for their car. They just want to know, can I make the payment every month? So they're tied to this payment. And that's all and they don't realize how that is just putting them more and more in debt. And so you don't need a payment all the time. And people just assume that, I'm going to have a payment the rest of my life. I haven't had, a car payment in many years because I've owned my car for, I'm almost embarrassed to tell you, like 12 years. So I had paid it off in the first 2 years. I think maybe first year, I just decided I didn't want the payment and I got rid of it and just kept my car. And I liked my car, and I did buy it brand new, so I got that, initial rush of buying a brand new car. But then, I was like, I really like having no payment better, So you don't have to have a car payment. Why not buy a used vehicle, a couple years old, and then, figure, a 4-year plan and then pay it off. I mean, we can pay this off a lot quicker, as you're going to learn. But, you know, you don't need, the point of the story is that you do not need to have a car loan all the time. You can pay that off, and you should go for long periods of time where you have no car payment, right? You keep that car until it doesn't make sense financially for you to keep that car any longer, or you come into a windfall. And even then, you should really be diligent about, like, do I need this car? Because a lot of times the car payment, there's not necessary. You don't need a new car all the time. People are just so stuck on, impressing their neighbors. And the funny thing is that, like I said, they buy a car, a really nice car too, fancy, to get them to the job that they have to go to now because they need to pay that car off. That's crazy, I mean, that's what it does. The car gets them back and forth to the job that they need to pay the car off. I don't know. I just thought that was crazy. And then as far as leasing a car is cheaper and affordable, but see, that's where you get into the never-ending car payment. So yes, leasing a car is going to be cheaper, but in the payment-wise, but the lease is going to end at some point, and then you're going to be carless, and you're going to have to get into another lease. So leasing, don't just look at the payments. Look at the cost of the car. Okay, what else we have here next? There's another lie that all loans that have collateral are good debt. And just because it has collateral does not mean that it's good debt. Now, good debt is an asset that brings you in money. So I have, let's say, rental properties. The rental properties are good debt because they actually bring me in rent. That's good debt to have. A car could be, considered collateral. That does not make that good debt. That is a depreciating asset. So that is not good debt. But it just does have collateral, right? Your car is used as collateral, right? So don't, confuse the same. I mean, almost anything. A boat is collateral. You buy a boat, right? Does it make it good debt? That thing is going down in value faster than you can sneeze. So that is not good debt, but it is collateral. So don't get the two confused. I don't know where people come up with that at. Sorry, give me one more second here while I grab my notes. All right, so we're back with our list. Next on the list is basically becoming a writer, or writing for, I know this sounds like, oh, what are you talking about? I'm not a writer, but there is a new platform. I talk about that a lot on the other video about 10 ways to create passive income. Work from home jobs. And you can literally, publish your own book on Amazon, on Kindle. And believe it or not, this is actually really pretty easy. It's a beginner blueprint to get this done. I am not kidding you. It is easy. Many, many, many people have done it. I know it sounds kind of out there, but, becoming a bestseller is not as hard as it used to be, but you can make a lot of royalties. It truly is passive income. Once you get started in writing a couple books, you'll see how easy it is. So what you want to do basically is, pick a niche that actually sells, a niche that people are buying books in, and you want to master it. And then you want to keep adding books to that niche. So keep incorporating books, and you can use this as a source of traffic to go anywhere else that you want. But meanwhile, you are actually creating money from these books. And of course, it only works if your books are continuing to sell. And sadly, that's where a lot of authors fail. Hey, guys. Sorry about that. And that's where a lot of authors fail, because, you know, they don't write good books, and they're just doing it for the money, and they really have no, they don't really care what niche they're in, or, you know, what they're writing about. And then they can't figure out why it doesn't work for them. So it's really not that hard if you establish yourself in an expert in a certain niche. And, you know, second, you want to build a friendly relationship with your readers. And after a while, you know, you're going to start emailing to them. They're going to get to feel like they know you, and you're going to build connections with these readers. And you'll build a mailing list, and you start emailing them too, and letting them know every time that you publish a new book. And you can also drive traffic. I mean, that's an advanced, actually, strategy. But you can drive traffic to any other place that you want, to your YouTube channel, to you know, a store where you're selling other products, to your website that's helping you to create AdSense on your website. It's pretty amazing what you can do with that traffic from that book. But the traffic is major. Like I said, if you get into a niche and you stick into it, and you keep writing about it, and you write really good, valuable content, you don't need to be an author to be able to, you know, write in these niches. You just have to have a good understanding, and, you know, you can become an expert at any time. And so I recommend that you totally pick something that you really want to know more about, and that you have a natural passion for. And you can take that really far. All right, let's see. Next on our list is, well, you can create webinars, and you can create courses that pay you money. Now, here's another really easy platform that it sounds really difficult and entailed, but it's really not. You could get on platforms. One of them is called teachable.com. And if you have, it could be anything about maybe losing weight. If you have some kind of expertise in that area, and you've used a certain method, and you can create course material in the form of videos and in documents, and you put these documents on this website called Teachable, and then you can drive traffic to this course. Here's the thing: if you're doing the books, you're writing books for Amazon and you're building up a list, you can send your traffic from your books to your course. So now what are you doing? So now you're making two forms of income. One from the sale of your books, and then the people that already like, know, and trust you from your books, you're sending them to your courses, and now you're making even more money from that. So now you're compounding your efforts. And this is all passive income. Once you get this up and running, and you write the books and you create the courses, it's all passive income from there. And then it really just matters, how far you want to take it. You could spend advertising and get more involved in it and let it be less passive. But if you're happy with the income and how much is coming in, and it's doing what you want it to do, you don't have to do anything, or not much. And it's amazing, because one feeds into the other. Because you can even send your courses to your books and let them know if people have found you through that. Another thing that you can do for passive income is, let's say in that same niche, and like I said, this is just one big circle where you can keep sending the people around that, but each one of these platforms is making you money, and these people who are interested in this niche, you're sending them from one platform to the next platform to the next platform, and they already enjoy. That's why you want to always make sure that you're providing good content, because if you're providing good content, they're going to keep coming back, and they're going to keep buying more stuff from you because they already like, know, and trust you at that point. But the next thing that you can do is to create a YouTube channel. And a YouTube channel, if you start monetizing your channel, let's say you're in the same niche as what the courses that you're creating and the books that you're writing, and now you've created a channel on YouTube about that same niche, and now you can make and monetize your YouTube channel so that it starts making money. And so now you can send traffic from your YouTube channel to your books, to your courses, or any way you want. Or they can go in the opposite direction. But the thing is that they're staying in that circle, and now you're directing your traffic where you want your traffic to go. And then there's another thing that you can do as well, and you can add another thing onto this. You don't have to have completely separate businesses, because what's great about this is when you keep everything in the same niche and you're sending them from one traffic source to the next, the thing that you're doing is you're saving yourself a lot of money in ad costs and marketing costs. So you pay for your traffic once, and then once you pay for it once, you can send them all to these different channels. And so that's amazing. So you have 4 businesses right there that are all creating passive income for you, that are all coming from maybe one source where you're actually spending money for the ads. And that's only if you want to. Because once you get your books from Amazon and you start making money with them, you don't really need to keep spending money on advertising. You can, because it'll certainly optimize your books, but you don't have to. The one thing you would need to do is just keep engagement going with your list. So, and one way you can do that is by continuing to write more books, also by sending them out emails. It's another way to keep them engaged. And then, like I said, you can send that traffic directly to your courses, and then your courses to your YouTube, or you can you can send them to your email, and then your email to your YouTube. There's a million ways that you can send this traffic and keep them all in the same channel. So that is pretty amazing. And then there's actually a 4th way that you can, is that 4 or 5? That you can keep them in this is by actually selling physical products on Amazon that is related to your niche. And so now you have all these other channels. Now you can bring in physical products on your on the same niche. So regardless of what it is, you can make coffee mugs with sayings on it, or t-shirts with sayings on it. Or let's say that your niche is dog training. You can open up what's called a Shopify store, or become an Amazon merchant. And you can drop ship items from your store, your website, your Shopify store, your Amazon store to your customers. So now you have this dog niche where you're making money off your YouTube channel, off your books, off your courses. So if you're doing some training courses on dogs that you can create, and now you're also selling them, especially in your courses, if they need specific items to help, teach the dog, you can send them to your Shopify store. So that's pretty amazing business that you can get started right there. And the amazing thing about it is that you don't need to spend a ton of money on advertising. It just depends on how much you want to grow your income. So if you want to scale it to, making hundreds of thousands, you're going to have to advertise more. If you're more into the passive lifestyle and you don't want to work as hard, you don't have to advertise as much. It just depends on what's important to you. But the main thing still is, since we were talking about our debt and not going over on your debt is you need to take that money, all of that extra money, and that is what you're going to pay your credit cards and your bad debt off with. And then you, just because you're making this money does not mean that you acquire more debt just because you can afford it. That's the secret, because at any one time, any of these businesses can just go by the wind. The economy can change, and or people just don't like dogs anymore. Who knows? I doubt that would ever happen, but you know what I'm saying. Like, trends can die, and now you thought it would. That's the problem with people with businesses, is they never think it'll ever end, and then when it does, they're caught without. They're caught with all this debt that they can't pay off. And so I say, no matter how much money you're making, pay everything off. Everything. And don't go, and if you're going to go into debt, make sure that you're keeping your most important things paid off, which is your house and your cars and things like that. Things that, you don't want to lose. And, let's just say that you financed a boat or something like that. You can lose that and nothing's going to happen. But like I said, always keep the roof over your head. I'm going to back up here. The sun's getting a little bit hot. Okay, that's a little better. But you can always, just always pay off your debt and live debt-free. Remember, time is your biggest asset. Okay, so let me see if I have anything else on my list that we can go down here. There are a couple other things, like for making money. If you don't like any of those ideas, if you are good at maybe writing something like inspiration or humor, if you're good at writing inspirational, they call them vignettes or funny stuff, people will happily sign up for we call them daily dose of happy pills to start their day. And people will actually pay for them. And you can charge anywhere from $4.95 to $9.95 per month. And that's not outrageous. There's a lot of people that actually do that. And there's a lot of people, if you're good and it keeps them smiling, it's well worth the $9.95 per month to get a happy email or a joke or something like that. Or, if you're good at graphic artistry, sending them something really pretty. And it may not seem like it, but it's not that hard to get 1,000 people to sign up for that newsletter and spend, have them spend $5 a month on that newsletter. $5 is not a lot. A lot of people will even forget that they're actually paying $5. I've seen it happen over and over because it's just a small amount of money. Even if they stopped reading it, they continue to pay it because they may pay it in the future. But that could earn you, just with 1,000 subscribers, $5,000 per month. And that's just a small list. For example, I love dogs, and I love really funny dog memes and animal memes. And they're really funny. There's so many funny ones out there. And, I would pay $5 per month to get a funny dose of that. One thing I really like is I like to laugh. So, things like that, enhance my experience in life, I don't mind spending. And it's only $5 a month, right? It's not $5 a day or $7 a day like Starbucks coffee. But, that's what people do when they have a passion. If dogs are their passion, or cats are their passion, or birds are their passion, they like to splurge. And by splurging, if $5 is what you consider splurging, they're pretty easy to set up. You just plug them into an autoresponder like Aweber or GetResponse. And, you can do your research on some really funny, cat memes or dog memes or something like that. And, now you can start living your passion, because if that's your thing and you love dogs and you love cats, it's something that you love to do and you're actually making money from it. And the thing is that people try to overcomplicate something really easy like this. And it's really not that hard to set up um, a newsletter where people will pay for it. It's not that hard at all. The next thing you can do is maybe a dating niche. If this might be for more of the single people, but it's actually a really lucrative field. Dating is huge, and it always will be. But if you're more specific, let's say you concentrate on the dating niche of dog lovers or cat lovers. Now that's really specific. Or how about a dating niche for hikers, something like that. Now that's, now it's not just dating, now it's hyper specific. So that would make, that a lot different. And if you, give it a cool branding, and you can make it a really fun experience. Another thing that you can do is recipes or health fitness tips. And people will pay for a newsletter. Both of them are really huge, and they're pretty easy to build a following. Health niche is, or the weight loss niche is huge. It's one of the biggest niches out there. So if you like to cook, or you like to do snacks and things like that, let's just say you're one of the really big things right now going on is keto and intermittent fasting. Are you doing that? Are you making maybe a lot of recipes from home for keto? Well, why couldn't you just share those recipes like in a newsletter and charge $5 for that? That would be a pretty easy thing to do. And I know, when you get your first subscriber for $5, it's going to be the best $5 that you ever received. And then it's just going to power you to do more, and it just takes time. But once you get your first subscriber, it's kind of like a snowball effect. Just keep doing what you're doing, just keep doing what you're doing. And before you know it, you're going to be making $5,000 a month. Now, the next thing you can do, and we talked about this a little bit before, is a course membership. Now, instead of, we talked about it as a course, and maybe, courses generally you'll charge like a flat fee of $125 per month, something like that. $125 per course. But if you had a course membership, let's just say that you started out with one course, but now you've got 5 courses in there, and it's pretty detailed. And instead of having them pay all of these, because it can get quite expensive for them if they're paying, $125 for this course, $200 for this course, $400 for this one. Suppose you only charge them $47 per month. Now, $47 per month, it may sound a lot cheaper initially, but most people will stay in a membership for about 6 months. So a lot of times you could be earning more in a course membership than you would ever to just sell those courses. And, how do you get people to your courses and to buy things like this? Well, you can start, advertising on Facebook and placing some Facebook ads. And we also talked about your books. You can send the traffic to your courses through your books. So there's also another way you could do it too. It's called a 12-month course payment plan. That's kind of almost like a membership. But let's just say you charged a lot. And I know this probably sounds a lot for, people just starting out. But geez, I can't tell you how many courses I paid $9.97 for. That's pretty common these days. And here's the thing. People are willing to pay if, especially if you're in a niche that is a very popular niche, like losing weight. People are willing to pay. A make money niche, that's a huge niche where people think of it as an investment. So if they pay $9.97, this is how I think of it anyway. I think of it as an investment. So if I pay $9.97, the only reason why I'm going to pay $9.97 is because I know that I'm going to get more than $9.97 back. Hold on one second. Ooh, it's getting hot over here. It's getting hot in here. Oh, I better not sing that song. Okay. I'm sorry, the sun's starting to come in my window and it's getting really hot. Okay, so where were we? Let me get back over here again. So anyway, with the 12-month course payment plan, you're not really doing a monthly course, monthly membership, but you're allowing them to stretch out their payment of the $9.97 over 12 months. And a lot of people who don't have that $9.97 will go for that. And so that's another way of, it's almost like, it's very similar to a membership, I actually like the membership idea a little bit better. I think, you'd have more problems because a lot of people do tend to quit something after, 6 months, and they're going to have a hard time paying for it if they're not doing it anymore. A lot of people won't follow through on stuff. I mean, we all know this, right? Other things you can do are like product subscriptions, like supplements or specialty coffees or teas, for example. Anything that's in the health or beauty related works really well. You don't need your own products, but you can sell other people's products. It can be in the form of like network marketing or, and this is where you don't even have to create your own product. You could sell somebody else's product, and that's through affiliate marketing. And it's not your own, but it's, very passive, and all you've got to do really is send traffic to it. So to keep people engaged and stay in the program, you're going to have to provide them with regular tips and cool, fun stuff in your newsletter. And another thing you can do is called recurring software. This might be a little bit more entailed for some more techie people, but software memberships are part of the blueprint and among the most lucrative membership options that are available. Now, of course, they require, that you have, like I said, they're very techy, tech support staff and updates and things like that. This is more for people who are, maybe in more the tech side of things. A lot of times, if you're just starting out, but I'm sure there's some people in our group that are very, techie oriented, and this might be right up their alley. Okay, so next, another thing that you can sell too, which is interesting, like if you have expertise, is you can sell webinars. So you can, let's just say that you are an expert in the losing weight field or something like that, fitness. And you can literally, start advertising on your Facebook and things like that for webinars, and you can charge $29.95 for like a one-time webinar. And here's the great thing about it. Here's what you can do. This is the amazing thing. So what you do is, you would outline maybe your presentation out on, Google Slides or something like that. And you would sell this for $29.95 live. I know that's hard, but you do it live. This will really throw you into things. And then you record that. So not only are you going to get paid for it live, which, when you're first starting out and people don't know you, maybe you'll get just a couple people, to your live webinar. Maybe you get one person, it's great. You do the webinar. It's going to give you the experience that you need to move on to the next thing. But, $29.95 plus it's going to be, it's not the amount of money that you made. It's the fact that you did make the money for your very first, webinar. So $29.95 is going to seem like a real gold mine to you. So, but next what you can do is when you record that webinar, now you take that one bit of content. This is where it starts to become passive. You take that one content that you already created and made some money from, and now you take that content and you repackage it, and then you can sell it as a course or a mini course. And you put that on your website. You put that in, one of those sites like Teachable, and you can sell it there. So now you're going to get, paid two ways. One for your live, and then you repackage it, you record it, and you can save it as one of your teachables. And then you can start putting these in. Remember, we were talking about having a membership of teaching, of all these courses that, people can buy into. Obviously you can't sell them a membership course if you only got one course in there. But if you have multiple courses in there, then you can start selling them. So you want to start thinking along those lines of maybe creating a broader account with several courses in it that you can have a membership to. The great thing about memberships versus a one-time hit where they pay for the whole course is that, memberships you can, you're going to get paid month after month after month. It's more a steady income. Whereas when you're only getting paid that one hit, what's going to happen a lot of times is that that's going to come right after maybe some kind of advertisement that you did. And it's going to be very sporadic, and you're not going to know a lot of times how much you're going to get paid for it. But with memberships, that if you have X amount of people in your memberships and they're paying $47 a month, or they're paying, you have 100 people in your membership, and they're paying $47, you're making $4,700 a month. So that's pretty incredible. It starts to add up, and it starts to add up over time. So that would be one of the reasons why I would recommend doing a course membership. You can also do, we were talking about affiliates more, and, let's just say that you didn't have your own course yet, but you still wanted to make money. You can sell affiliate courses where somebody's already created the course, and now you're going to promote it. And ways you would do that is through YouTube. So you can, start talking about, a certain product that you've used and you have experience about, and you can give them the pros and cons about it. And then you can link to the site where they actually sell it, the product that you've, I'm sure we all have products that we would recommend, right? So a lot of these people don't realize that, but if you go to the bottom of their website where they sell these products, you just go underneath and you look for something that says affiliates. And if you click on affiliates, that is where you can sign up to become an affiliate. And usually they'll give you a percentage, a good percentage of the sale will go to you. If they put a certain tracker on a link that you get, and then you put that tracker and link on your YouTube page underneath as you're promoting it, and if people click on that link and go to there and actually buy it, then you get a percentage of the sale. Now that's pretty amazing, all for you creating just one YouTube channel, and then once you make that YouTube channel, that YouTube video, not only will you get traffic through YouTube, but you can take that video now and you can place it on your Facebook and then have that run through Facebook. Now you're going to gather Facebook traffic from that and sell that affiliate link. And you can keep doing that with many products. And then that becomes passive because your links are out there. Your YouTube is out there forever, your video. And every now and then you can keep, posting it back to Facebook to keep it on the top. I wouldn't do, put it up too many times, but you can keep reposting that up the top. But I would go to the next product and then start promoting another product. It just depends on how much, what niche you're in. Let's just say that you're really heavily into cameras or something like that, camera and camera equipment. Well, you could keep testing out certain camera equipment, and then you could either send them to, you could send them to an affiliate link where they're going to give you a certain percentage if they buy the cameras from you. I mean, Amazon does that right off the bat. So you can go to Amazon and get your Amazon affiliate link and start selling cameras. You know, start selling their cameras. All you have to do is promote it. Okay, see what else we have here. Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, I know I went over a lot of stuff, and there's a lot involved with that. I mean, you'd have to have, you know, there's so many courses out there. Like I was saying about Teachable, you can go to Teachable, and there's so many people with courses on all the things that I've just talked about, and I've only, you know, kind of brushed the surface of some of the easier stuff that you can do. Literally, I'm just going to mention one more is just, you know, creating, you know, YouTube videos. Even, you know, just by creating videos, you can, if you have enough traffic coming to your videos, you can make money by monetizing your videos. And just that one method alone will start making you extra income. And then income that you can, you know, use. And of course, you know, anytime you get into something, you're going to become an expert at it. And the more you become an expert and the longer that you stick with it, the more value you're going to have to people, the more value you're going to be able to offer people, and you know, the more money you're going to make. So, you know, just stick with that one thing of, you know, doing the YouTube videos. And like I said, you're going to get so much information, and then you can start sharing videos on how you did all this stuff, and kind of pivot yourself into the make money niche, which is one of the most lucrative niches out there, especially for your YouTube channels. You can start doing something like that. You know, affiliate marketing is another great niche, you know. But the YouTube videos are, you know, really, really powerful way to not only market your business, but also to make money. So, like I said, I know we only touched on some of these, and I will leave some links to different, to some different sites where you can look into some of these passive income strategies a little bit more. And I know this has been a really long webinar, and I hope that you guys have got something out of it. I'm sure at least it's probably raised a lot of curiosity in your mind. And I hope that, you know, that curiosity is going to lead you to start, you know, looking up, you know, some of this information, and just, you know, researching it a little bit more. And I know you feel like probably at this point, like you have a lot of negativity, especially if you're in a lot of debt. But you have to think beyond that. You have to think positive, and, you know, you have to keep moving forward. And like I said, if you are decreasing your debt, I mean, it's not just enough that you're decreasing your debt, you also have to be increasing your income at the same time. So as you're doing those two things at once, this is where you meet in the middle, and you can actually become financially free. And like I said, financial freedom is the real key here. So anyway, I think we're going to end it there. I really appreciate everybody coming and staying on the webinar. I will be, you know, once we post the video, if you guys want to, you know, if you have questions and you want to, you know, leave your question, I will answer all the questions underneath the video. I'd be happy to do that. So just give me, like, you know, 24 hours to respond to any questions. You can also hit me up on my Facebook. But I prefer that everybody keep their questions and to the YouTube. This way I can find everything all in one place. And with that being said, guys, I hope everybody found something valuable in this. Can't wait to hear your comments. You guys have a great day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.